Imagine playing a game like Genshin Impact, where you spend money pulling for a character you really want, but instead of paying only to unlock that character for combat, you are paying to unlock an intimate moment with him, such as having a romantic date, a private conversation, or a beautifully animated scene where he looks directly at you and tells you exactly what you want to hear. That is essentially a part of the appeal behind Love Deepspace, a romance game that has attracted a massive female audience and generated an extraordinary amount of money from players collecting romantic story cards of its male characters. But it's not only happening in games. Millions of women are also watching male VTubers, obsessing over fictional men from anime and books, and collecting merchandise, and sometimes forming stronger emotional attachments to these characters than they do to men in their real lives. And as a woman myself, I find this fascinating. Why are so many women emotionally investing in men who are not real? Why can a fictional character sometimes feel safer, more attractive, and even more emotionally fulfilling than their actual relationship? And does this simply come down to unrealistic standards, or are fictional men providing something that many women feel is missing from modern dating? In this video, I want to explore the psychology behind why women become attached to fictional men, romance game characters, and male VTubers. I want to begin by addressing a game that has reportedly surpassed $1 billion in total player spending, and one where many women are spending a surprising amount of their time and money: Love Deepspace. Now, I'm sure that if you spend as much time online as I do, you have probably heard something about this game. But for those who haven't, I want to briefly explain what it is and why its fictional men have managed to capture so many women's hearts. Love Deepspace is a science fiction otome game, meaning it is a romance-focused game primarily designed with a female audience in mind. It currently features 5 main love interests: Xavier, Zane, Raphael, Silas, and Caleb, each with his own personality, history, and relationship with the player. You do not necessarily choose one man and become permanently locked into his storyline. Instead, you can develop separate relationships with all 5 of them, experience their stories, and decide which character you feel the strongest connection to. But this is not simply a game where you read a few romantic scenes and then close the app. It is designed to become part of your daily routine. The game rewards you for checking in, completing daily activities, and returning for limited time events. The characters can send you text messages, leave voice messages, call you, and interact with you through dates, conversations, and 3-dimensional scenes. You can even set reminders so that one of the men appears to remind you about something happening in your real life. You can study or exercise alongside them through the game's quality time features, take photographs together, play mini games, decorate shared spaces, and increase your emotional bond with each character. There is also an action combat storyline in which you fight alongside these men, so they are not presented only as attractive faces. They become protectors, partners, friends, and sources of emotional reassurance. And that constant presence is important. These characters do not only appear when the main story needs them, they are placed inside the player's everyday life. They remember important moments, offer affection, respond when you touch or speak to them, and create the feeling that someone is consistently waiting for you whenever you open your phone. Of course, this relationship is carefully designed and programmed. These men cannot genuinely love the player, but emotionally, the experience can still feel personal. When a character speaks directly to you, comforts you after a difficult day, or remembers something associated with your relationship, your brain does not necessarily dismiss that experience simply because the person is fictional. That is where the game becomes more than an ordinary romance story, and where we can begin to understand why some women feel so deeply attached to these men. One of the biggest reasons fictional men can feel more appealing is that they are consistent. When you open Love and Deepspace, the character you love is still there. He's not suddenly lost interest, ignored you for days, or disappeared without an explanation. Even when conflict happens, it has usually been written to bring the player closer to him. An argument may eventually lead to a confession, while a dangerous situation gives him an opportunity to show how much he cares. His flaws make him interesting, but they are rarely allowed to make the relationship permanently miserable. That does not mean every popular fictional character behaves perfectly. Silas, for example, is intimidating and morally complicated, but those qualities are balanced with moments of softness and loyalty that show the player she is special to him. Real people cannot maintain that level of perfectly timed affection because they are not edited by professional writers. A real man may love you and still be exhausted after work, must understand what you are trying to say, or need time alone. His bad mood is not always building toward a romantic confession, because he has responsibilities and emotions that exist independently of the relationship. That is not a flaw unique to men. It is part of being human. However, when someone becomes accustomed to perfectly packaged affection, ordinary human inconsistency can begin to feel like rejection. Fictional characters are also designed to make the player feel noticed. They remember important details, and the dialogue may have been recorded long before she downloaded the game, but the comfort it creates can still feel genuine. Research into parasocial relationships supports this distinction. People may find a strong connection with the character or creator more comforting than a weak relationship with someone who barely knows them, although close and mutual relationships are still considered more emotionally fulfilling. This means that emotion can be real even though the relationship is not mutual. A character may genuinely make someone feel more confident or less alone, and that feeling should not be dismissed simply because it came through a screen. The attention feels so perfect because the character does not require equal emotional care in return. His purpose within the experience is to make the player feel something, while a real relationship requires both people to notice and support each other. This also makes fiction feel safer. A fictional man cannot decide that you are not his type, embarrass you after you confess your feelings, or use your insecurities against you. The player also remains in control. She can close the game, replay a scene, or focus on a different character whenever she feels overwhelmed. Real intimacy is more frightening because it requires allowing another person to know you while accepting that you cannot control how they will respond. For women who have experienced betrayal, manipulation, or repeated rejection, fiction can provide romantic feelings without exposing them to the same emotional risk. It allows them to feel desired without first giving another person the opportunity to reject them. However, that safety has limitation. A fictional character cannot fully accept you because he has never had the freedom to leave. Real acceptance means another person sees your imperfections, has the ability to walk away, and still chooses to stay. A fictional character can imitate the feeling of being chosen, but he cannot consciously make that choice. Attachment can also grow through familiarity. When someone repeatedly hears the same voice, learns a character's history, and watches how he reacts in different situations, he begins to feel less like a collection of scenes and more like something familiar. Psychologists call part of this the mere exposure effect. Repeated exposure can increase familiarity and make someone feel safer or more likable. Games such as Love and Deepspace use this effectively because they encourage players to return every day. The character becomes part of the player's routine through messages, daily activities, and new memories. Over time, he may become associated not only with romance, but with comfort after a difficult day. Male VTubers can create an even more personal version of this attachment because there is a real performer behind the avatar. He can laugh unexpectedly, react to viewers, and share stories in real time. The avatar provides fantasy, while the voice and spontaneous reactions create a sense of human presence. This gives VTubers some of the emotional safety of fictional characters, while still allowing them to feel unpredictable and responsive. Researchers sometimes describe live streaming relationships as a 1.5-sided. They are more interactive than watching an actor in a pre-recorded show, but they are not fully mutual friendships. A viewer may watch the same VTuber several nights a week, learn his sense of humor, and listen to personal stories about his life. If he eventually reads her username or responds to her comment, the interaction may feel deeply personal because she has already spent months becoming familiar with him. That does not mean the viewer is unintelligent or believes they are secretly dating. Knowing that an experience is fictional or performative does not stop it from affecting us emotionally. We can cry during a film while knowing the characters are not real. The problem begins when access is confused with intimacy. A streamer sharing personal stories does not mean the audience knows every part of him, and reading a donation does not create a romantic obligation. This confusion becomes especially obvious when a creator announces that he has a partner, and some viewers feel personally betrayed. The creator never promised them exclusivity, but the parasocial bond may have started to feel like a relationship emotionally. These attachments do not happen entirely by accident. Characters such as Zane, Xavier, Raphael, Silas, and Caleb are created by a team of writers, artists, animators, voice actors, and directors who understand how to make a character emotionally compelling. His voice, expressions, and backstory are carefully chosen to create a specific feeling. His flaws make him interesting without completely destroying the fantasy, and even the timing of a pause can make a scene feel more intimate. Different characters are also designed to appeal to different emotional preferences. One player may be drawn to someone calm and dependable, while another prefers someone dangerous who becomes gentle only with her. The characters do not need to appeal to every woman. The game only needs each type of player to feel that one character was created for her. Research into otome games has connected character identification and the feeling of being present inside the story with stronger attachment. The player is not simply watching two characters fall in love. She is being invited to imagine that the character is falling in love with her. That is why it is unfair to dismiss these games as something women become irrationally obsessed with for no reason. The creators understand storytelling, emotional tension, and audience desire. A scene can feel intimate because artists and performers worked hard to make it feel intimate. However, these experiences are also commercial products. The emotional bond is connected to player retention, limited events, merchandise, and in-game spending. The more attached someone becomes to a character, the harder it may be to ignore a limited card containing an important romantic moment. The game is not only selling an attractive character, it is selling another piece of the player's imagined relationship with him. It would still be unfair to blame fictional men for every unrealistic expectation women may have. Sometimes fiction does not create a need. It reveals a need that was already being neglected. A woman may not love a fictional man because she expects a real partner to fight monsters or deliver perfect speeches. She may love him because he communicates clearly and makes affection feel safe. Wanting consistency, respect, and emotional care is not unrealistic. The unrealistic part would be expecting another human being to provide these things perfectly every second. For some women, the comparison is not between a fictional character and every real man alive. It is between the character and the disappointing relationships they have personally experienced. Fiction has not betrayed them or made them feel ashamed for being vulnerable. The character becomes a contrast against specific pain, rather than a standard every real man is expected to meet. That is why telling women to simply lower their standards often misses the point. Some expectations may need to become more realistic, but fiction may also be revealing how little emotional care they previously accepted. The more useful question is not why women expect men to act fictional, It is what are they receiving from fiction that they have repeatedly failed to receive from real people. At the same time, comparing real partners with scripted characters can become unfair. A real person should not have to compete with dialogue that has been rewritten by professional writers. Real conversations include awkward pauses and badly worded apologies. Real love is often much less cinematic because it is shown through ordinary actions, such as helping your partner when they are exhausted. Fiction removes most of the boring hours and shows us the meaningful moments. Real relationships are built during both. I do not think the complete answer is that women prefer fictional men over real men. Many women may simply prefer the consistency and emotional safety that fictional relationships provide, especially when their real experiences have been disappointing. Fiction can offer that reliability because fictional men do not have independent lives. They cannot truly disagree, set boundaries, change their minds, or ask to be loved as complete people. Everything has been constructed around the player's experience. That makes the fantasy comforting, but it also makes it fundamentally different from love. Love is not simply receiving the correct dialogue. It means learning another person's internal world while allowing them to learn yours. It requires accepting that neither person will respond perfectly, and learning how to repair the relationship when disappointment happens. A fictional man can help someone recognize that she values tenderness, loyalty, or emotional communication. There is nothing wrong with taking that knowledge into real relationships. However, he should be a mirror that helps her understand her desires, rather than a standard that makes every ordinary human being appear inadequate. Perhaps the real question is not why women are choosing men who are not real. It is why carefully written affection sometimes feels more available than genuine human connection. The popularity of these characters may not prove that women are delusional or impossible to please. It may simply show that many women are looking for affection that feels consistent and safe. Fiction can imitate that feeling beautifully, but only a real person can freely choose to offer it. That freedom, with all of its imperfection and risk, is what makes real love something fiction can portray, but never fully replace.